Hello everyone and welcome back to another Getting Stuff Painted, my bi-weekly update, give or take, on the models I've been covering for the games we cover here on the channel. This is the allergy edition. Spring allergies are out of control, so I sound very congested. Might have to pause to sneeze a little bit, apologies in advance. And I am going to move some of the scenery out of the way, but I wanted it all piled up to show that I will be talking about some scenery that I got around to painting. A little bit of an experiment with that stuff, but we'll get to that later. We have three things to talk about across a lot of miniatures, but just three games. We have some Kill Team over here, we have a little bit of Warcry, and then scenery, I'll get to that, and then a casual zombie horde of urban mechs, which had their own separate video that you will have seen before you see this, but I'm just going to quickly kind of recap and just show off some of those up close if you want a better look at them in better light, because unfortunately the weather report lied to me and the lighting for that video was appallingly poor, so this will give you a better look at the finished job here. Alright, move the camera, move some of that scenery to the side so that we can talk about the entirety of the rest of the Commandos, and that is Commandos with a K, of the Orc Kill Team that I started last time with the Grot, the Bomb Squig, the leader. This is everybody else, and they all are basically unique. I think this one is just classed as a basic shooter boy. But then you've got kind of like the Rocket Boy, Burner Boy, Sniper, I don't remember the name of the knife guy, the Comms guy, and then the Breacher, I think this one is. But they're all like unique operative names, but essentially they're just sneaky orcs. Apologies for that. Terrible timing. So, I talked last time about the colour schemes I used for these guys, and it is essentially the same, me trying to match up as best I can to the official paint jobs, and I'll give you close-ups of them in a second here. One thing though, I lost a part of the assembly when I was putting these guys together, and I didn't notice until I got to colouring, and it's on the Breacher. You might notice he's kind of just got two divots on his shoulder blade, which is meant to be like a spiky pauldron that matches the weird kind of emerald, and it's Eldari emerald I use for this, on his head there. I didn't notice when I was assembling him that I missed a bit, and that sprue's long gone. It's in the bin. So unfortunately he's just got, I mean, I guess it doesn't, I suppose I could have filled the holes and went over them, but oh well. I made a mistake, and every time I see him I'm just going to be reminded. Hopefully he's not like one of the better picks, because I think you have to leave out at least one person when you're making the kill team. Haven't looked into that yet, but if you can, it might be him. Although that might be a shame, because I think he like breaches walls to create new access points and stuff like that, which is pretty cool. But yeah, same colour schemes as I was using last time. Mantis Warrior green, Militarum green for his vest, which again, oh, and Gut Ripper Flesh, sorry, is the flesh tone. Militarum green is very similar, so it's a bit hard to tell the difference until you're up close, but just trying to match up. I use a lot of Army Painter Rust, Bronze Scorpion, Lead Belcher Silver, Bow Red, and also Flesh Tear Red for incendiary grenades, the wrappings on the handles of grenades, or clubs, choppers, sorry, better use the correct terminology, that kind of thing. And that's just the base coat with non-oil over it. And then we can move on to, I like this guy. I think this is just like a bog standard shooter boy, but I do like his triple barrel DACA gun here, and it's optional to have the ammo kind of flying out of it like he's firing it. I thought it looked kind of neat, like an action pose, so I left it on. And this is the AK concrete paint with Rattling Grime over it, just as a reminder for the base here. Very fun looking, not your typical orcs, because these are sneaky gits as they're called. They use a little bit of stealth. I would not be surprised if a lot of people painted these purple to keep up the meme. You never see a purple orc because they're just so good at being stealthy. And this guy's using some kind of sonar weapon. His attack profile for this thing is actually reflective of that, which is kind of neat. And then we have the Rocket Boy. I think this guy got a buff in the current edition of Kill Team. It's a very impractical RPG, or whatever you want to call it. Not great, especially because his extra ammo is back here, but you know, orcs aren't the smartest lot. Fun though, and not something I'm used to painting, like the first half of this Kill Team I painted last time. Other than one orc I did when contrast paint first came out, just as an experiment. These are the only other orcs I've ever painted to my recollection. Never did any for Underworlds or anything like that, and haven't done any for Warcry, but I'll probably will at some point in the future now, because I kind of like this scheme for them. I do like this guy as well. He's got a throwing knife in his teeth, he's got two blades. I use Blood for the Blood God because he is all about knife fighting. he is the team's machete. Sniper, yeah, sniper. You know, sniper by orc standards. He gets one actual snipe shot, and then I think he gets revealed, and he can still do good damage with it, and he's still, you know, got to aim by orc standards, but he doesn't get as many like really powerful shots as say the Eliminator sniper for the Angels of Death. Like that seems to be the best sniper. Don't know if it's literally the best sniper available for Kill Team, but he certainly seems really good. And this is the Burner Boy. He's wearing an oven mitt. That's what I'm choosing to believe. I used Gloomhaunt for that, I believe it was. Whichever the blue tinge one is, not the green one. Because there's like Hexwraith and Gloomhaunt. Whichever one is the blue tint is the one I used there. And what yellow? Iron Jaws yellow and Magma Droth Flame orange. Just for the flames of the tip there. And Frost Heart for the blue flame that's actually like igniting the propellant. And there's a look at the fuel canister he's on his back. One stray shot and he is going up like a firework. But yeah, really fun. Definitely try and get these guys in a Kill Team battle report as soon as possible. So also continuing on from last time, I have two war crimes to talk about. And they are two more of the special guys from the Scions of the Flame for the Warcry Warband that originally came in the Catacombs box. And I posted a picture of this guy on Blue Sky, and my caption for it was just "Fire Scythe, Fire Scythe." I really like scythes; they're an underrated weapon. But to be an actually person, it's not a fire scythe. It looks like a fire scythe. It's actually just using like a halberd. Like the blade is actually there, but he's whooping it back, and it's got like a flaming sensor in it, so it's creating that kind of drift because he's pulling back for a really big kind of chop. But it looks like a fire scythe, so that's what makes me happy about this. I covered, again, last time, the very last one before this, the colours I was using for Scions of the Flame, because I covered the big boss of their warband last time. I don't remember the names of these two. Oh, actually, you know what? He's called the Immolator for obvious reasons. This guy, though, don't remember his name. I just think he's a really cool miniature. Very buff. Flame Scythe. I'm doing finger quotes a lot today. And again, if you want to know how I've done the lava effect, I covered that last time as well. It's what I used to do for Eldari back in 40k, my Yandin army. And again, just trying to do a little bit of the reflective light there for the flames. Using a mixture of the same colours I was just talking about for the orcs. The Iron Jaws yellow, a little bit of Iron Fist yellow, and Magma Droth Flame orange. So yeah, really cool miniature. This warband in general, I very much enjoy their aesthetic. And that's Blood Angels Red, used for their tarps and such. And here is the Immolator, who sets himself on fire, which is very fun. And not a healthy way to live, just to be clear. And also, I think I'm about to have to go answer the door. So you know what? We're going to talk about Mr. Immolator in a second. Now then, where were we? Oh yes, immolation! As I was saying, this guy set himself on fire. I'm not super keen with how I did the fire effect here. I feel like previous examples that might have been better was like the Human Torch for Crisis Protocol. I can't think of any other specific examples, but that's probably the best one. The flames are a bit muted, and that was despite me trying to lighten them up with quite a bit of Imperial Fists yellow. Either way though, the immolation effect itself is, I mean, I guess you can tell he's on fire, so job done in that regard, but not quite as defined as I wanted it to be, because parts of his skin are kind of showing, but then when you take into account the glow, it would probably be giving, you wouldn't really be able to pick out that kind of detail when he himself is on fire. So I did try my best with him. It turned out okay, but the model itself is very fun. Again, very impractical way to fight. Maybe they're super resistant to flame. I don't know. As far as I'm aware, this guy doesn't have any like self-damage mechanic, but haven't used him yet, so don't know. So all that leaves left for the Scions of the Flame now is there are 4 or 5 basic kind of dudes that you can equip in a few different ways. So that's all their like major named guys, I think. There might be one more that isn't quite as tall as the rest of these, but then certainly you've still got all the grunts to go, but be aiming to finish those in time for the next one of these. So, on to the scenery experiment, as it were. So this is the old scenery that you can get MDF versions of these if you buy the Kill Team starter set that has the Plague Marines and the Space Marines. So I've painted up half of this in the past, a long time ago, and back then my strategy for it was spray them grey and then use Agrat Surshade on them. And that was basically it. And I think that was about it. I have the Gallo Dark set of scenery for Kill Team, because Games Workshop re-released it when the 3rd edition launched. And I wanted to kind of do a bit of an experiment to see if I liked this style for it. And I think this style actually would be fine, and I'll talk through how I did it in a second here. But I have since kind of been looking up how other people have painted over the years, because Galadark originally came out like 4 years ago or something. So there's been a lot of guides of, I painted it this way, I painted it this way. So it's kind of picked and chosen. Yeah, chosen like one that I found that I think I want to try better, that I think the effect will be better rather for the setting that Galadark is meant to be. But I say this looks fine. If you want a quick and easy way to do some terrain for 40k, this is fine. You basically just do what I did for the Warcry terrain. It's a mixture of the Army Painter Turquoise and Army Painter Red Dragon, but I actually started with a grey base because I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. I tried like silvers and Dawnstone. I just wasn't really liking the effect. So that's when I went back to the spray cans, did the bottom half, well most of it really, in turquoise, and then did a zenithal angling with the red dragon. Then rather than use Army Painter Rust, because I felt like it might be a bit too bright, again because I was keeping in mind I'm testing for Galadark, it's the inside of the spaceship is going to be danker and not as bright or light catching. I just used a very thick dry brushing of Bronze Scorpion. So that's how I managed to just do that. And it looks fine. It would look fine on a table, it stands out, your models would still stand out against it. It looks okay. Not as good as it certainly could look, obviously, especially if you were taking your time, but you know my hatred of scenery. So, for my needs, this is perfectly fine. And you might even see these pop up as just a little bits of scenery now and then in something, any kind of sci-fi setting really, but the thing about Kill Team is it's very particular about its scenery, unless you make up your own table, in which case you have to decide what's light cover, what's heavy cover, what's intervening, you know, all that stuff in advance, which is a bit awkward. That's probably the main downside to it I've found so far. But this is certainly a way you could paint it, and I might still change my mind and go back to this. I don't really want to talk about the method I have decided to go with for now in super detail, because again, one, I might change my mind, and two, I'll obviously talk about it once I'm doing the terrain. But the gist of it is to work from a blank base, and rather than do a zenithal spray on top of that, do something along the lines of a bronze like this, but a darker shade, like a shade down, which Citadel does do, and I'm sure other people do as well, and then picking out more additional details using either Valero or, oh, I've forgotten the name of the other brand. It begins with an H. Kind of like the dust effects, and they do like, there's a lot of good rust ones. I use dusty ones on the feet of my mechs that I paint for Battletech for in my mercenary company colours. There's rust colours of those that I think if applied quite thickly would look good, and I found a video that kind of shows that off, and I like it, but I'll talk more about that once time comes. So this was just a little experiment, and it was an excuse to get some terrain done that may or may not have a use, and it looks okay. I would still say the Warcry stuff I painted with a similar theme turned out better and brighter as well, but that is kind of meant to be outdoor stone. So either way, that is something done. Now let's talk about the zombies. I've used the terrain there to create a little barricade for most of the horde. We wouldn't want them infecting everybody else and turning them into trash cans. So as I say, I did do a separate video about these guys. I'm not even going to bring them all over. They are all literally as close to identical as I could get. We have 12 urban mechs for Battletech, Battletech Alpha Strike, whatever else. And I got this company of 12 as one of the additions I got to my Battletech Mercenaries Kickstarter. Did an unboxing for it on the channel, and it was just a silly thing. And I did say during that video when I opened it, I have a dumb idea of doing a zombie horde with this because I like the idea, because Urbies are pathetic. You know, they're trash. That's why everyone calls them trash cans, not just because they look like trash cans, because they act like trash cans. And I thought it'd just be funny and an interesting thing to do, and recently I painted up the Plague Marines for Kill Team, so that was on my mind how I did those, and I essentially applied the same thing here with the process. So if you want to see the process step by step, go watch that video. The lighting in it again is pretty appalling at parts, and I do apologise. It was meant to be 2 days of sun in a row, and the Scottish weather lied to me. Ironically, it is wonderfully bright today, and it was yesterday, so these would have been perfect days to do that video. But oh well. That means at least I can show you, if you wanted some good lighting shots of the finished job I did on them. Hopefully these will suffice for you and make up for that, because yeah, that bothers me. and I couldn't artificially lighten it up a little bit in a way that made it look good. I tried, so unfortunate, but hey, here's a better look at some of them. We have 12 urban mech zombies. If they ever get a kill, they create another one, but you don't have much to fear because their chance of getting a kill is very small. So either way, silly thing. I hope mech dads don't get angry at me for it, but that's just what I wanted to do with them. And I did mention right at the tail end of the urban mech video where I painted them, like I still have more. I have one more that's just in the same pose these all are, and then I've got the other ones that came in. Like they did a little company box of 4 alternative style urban mechs, one that's got like a LRM or an SRM and some other various weaponry and poses. So I've got those sitting somewhere. They'll all get done at some point. The other bog standard urban mech that's in this pose will probably get painted up by the time I do the next one of these, and I'm probably just going to do it in like House Sterner, whatever they're called, the half blue half white setup, just to do that again that I did for a longbow months ago, however long ago. But yep, I use this series to be a catalogue for the end of the year tally of how many models I painted, and doing 12 identical ones. It's not something I would usually do because I hate batch painting. I like variety, if that isn't obvious by the various games I cover in this series. So sitting down and doing this is not something I normally would do, which just should go to prove that, you know, to get that same effect, it isn't hard. Like you can absolutely do it. So you can go check out that video if you want to see more about it. And that, as they say, is that. As a ball gets... Oh, she almost stole it from my feet, but she put it back because she saw me looking at her. Is it for another Getting Stuff Painted. If you want to show me what you've been painting, feel free to do so on Blue Sky or in my Discord server. And if you need an invite to either, just stop by when I'm streaming on my gaming channel, and you know, they can happily provide links. You will maybe see that other urban mech next time, as I mentioned. You will probably see the rest of the Scions of the Flame for Warcry. In terms of kill team, I'm not 100% sure. I still have some Space Marines sitting back from when I played 40k that I could absolutely paint up, but I feel like the Angels of Death kill team that exists already kind of covers that base well enough, the one that was in the starter set, so I'm not sure. It would be a nice excuse to maybe paint up a different chapter, just for fun, but I can't guarantee that. Anything else? I can't be specific. No, I'm not sure. I'm genuinely not sure. So you'll just have to come back in 2 weeks-ish and find out. Thank you for watching. Hope this inspires you to get through your pile of grey shame. If you ever have any questions, just let me know and I'll answer to the best of my ability. And I will see you next time. Ta-ta for now.